Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. 1 billion Tether SEC grasp is slipping on the crypto space. Let's hope so. Senators are pushing for crypto control. We're going to get into that. CFTC's Carolyn Pham, DBS's bank, and a former U.S. senior Treasury official all talk the future of money, systemically important designations, ladies and gentlemen, and a crypto world reserve currency. What's it look like? Let's roll that beautiful intro and find out.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. And our market cap right now is $1,064 billion for cryptocurrency. Right now, Bitcoin is $22,800 plus. Good morning. It is August 4th, 2022. Ethereum, $1,600 plus right now. And we see XRP at the number 7 spot this morning at 36 cents. We will keep an eye on it. The range of price overnight was 37 to 38 cents. Pretty tight trading range, and we are off by 1.3% in the last 24 hours. We'll keep an eye on it. But I do want to let you know about this. NASA partners with Zipline. There's only a small amount available if you want it. This is your chance. Don't miss a chance to go to the moon with NASA and Zipline with link2.com. Private investing made simple. Click this link on my Twitter or the one below in the video's description and comment section. It will not last long, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mess around. Now, when it comes to the crypto space, there's a few things I'm still waiting for, and they may or may not happen. But this is what I have on my board right here, and I want to share it with you. Things I'm still buckled up and waiting for is the SEC to sue a U.S. crypto exchange, which is really kind of in the works right now with Coinbase, it would appear, right? So with USD Tether rug pull or collapse, you know, USD Tether, obviously, according to Whale Alert, just printed $1 billion worth of Tether. I have to ask, because we know from the interview, I believe it was CNBC, where it was claimed by the CTO of Tether that they don't back their reserves with commercial paper or U.S. treasuries, and they don't have an outside accounting firm watching the peg. So that's a problem on all fronts. So I expect the regulators to come in at some point and really drop the hammer. Now, with that being said, I do want to give USD Tether credit. They are registered with FinCEN. But remember what Caitlin Long said about Celsius when it crashed and it got insolvent and it had its problems. She said, just because you are registered doesn't mean you're regulated. And I think that goes here as well with USD Tether. And then we're talking about Mt. Gox release and payout approximately 150,000 Bitcoin. I've heard as recent as this month or the end of this month that could happen, but we will keep an eye on it to see if and when it does and what are the circumstances. Moving forward, like right now, speaking of the Mt. Gox debacle, I asked if anyone knew when it was going to release. Somebody did respond that it was in August. We'll keep an eye on it, as I said. It's August 30th as far as Dion Bax knows. So thank you, Dion, for that. Now let's get to this very quickly here. SEC's grasp on crypto market looks to be slipping away. Let's hope so. Wall Street Journal says leaders of Senate committee are set to propose legislation that would assign oversight to the two largest cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin and Ether, to the federal agency that regulates milk futures and interest swaps, which is the CFTC. However, it goes a step beyond that too. Senators do push for CFTC control over crypto, and they've gone as far as to say in the bill that they want to see the crypto platforms actually register with the CFTC, not the SEC. Now, we'll keep an eye on that, because I think that's a huge step forward. Ron Hammond says here, another strong bipartisan bill that further empowers the CFTC to effectively regulate crypto spot markets. Expect a very busy next 2 years for bipartisan crypto legislation. thanks to Senator Stabenow and John Boozman here and Senator Booker and John Thune for their pragmatic approach. We will keep an eye on where all of this goes. Remember, nothing's been voted on, nothing's been passed. There's a lot floating around here. And speaking of what's floating around, this has come from James K. Filan. Shout out to you, Jim, for everything you do for all of us. When it comes to the SEC versus Ripple case, we need an update, and here it is. Ripple defendants request permission to serve non-party subpoenas to authenticate videos of 7 SEC officials' public remarks in connection with previous RFAs, which is requests for admissions, I think it is, right? I think that's what it is, the RFAs there. So the SEC will not consent and seeks to reopen discovery. Fred Rispoli says here, this is the kind of garbage that pisses off judges, fights that have nothing to do with the merits. Unless Ripple is totally mischaracterizing SEC's position, unlikely. And even though SEC continually proves me wrong on this, it can't be this dumb. This is pure childish obstruction. Thank you, Fred, for that. And then we have Jeremy Hogan, who chimes in here as well. Ripple simply wants to authenticate 7 videos of SEC employees giving speeches, and the SEC is messing around again with it. The SEC played games in responding originally last year. Authentication is standard stuff in litigation and should not be this difficult. The SEC refuses to admit or deny the authenticity of recorded statements responding in conclusory fashion. Then the information known and currently available is not sufficient for the SEC to respond. Rules 36 requires more, and nowhere does the SEC state in detail why it cannot truthfully admit or deny the authenticity of recordings after reasonably inquiry. So this is where we are on that. More delays by the SEC. This is Caroline Pham, newest acquirer at the CFTC chairperson, and she talks about CFTC regulating systemically important financial market infrastructures. Now, this is key because we know from the Dodd-Frank Act, which was architected by Michael S. Barr, former U.S. Treasury official, former Ripple advisor, now the VP of Federal Reserve Board of Governors, will have a hand in architecting the stablecoin regulation. Don't believe it, it's still true. Now, right here, we show Caroline Pham and what she's saying in this Forbes article here. As a final point, I'll note that the CFTC regulates systemically important financial market infrastructures. This is important, I believe, both U.S. and non-U.S., like exchanges and clearing houses, but also systemically important global financial institutions, banks, both U.S. and non-U.S., that are directly registered with us as a swap dealers. It says, she says that the level of direct oversight over both FMIs as well as banks, U.S. and non-U.S., is incredibly broad. So I don't think you have any regulator besides maybe the Fed, but I would say that the CFTC actually directly regulates these FMIs to an extent that the Fed does not. So this is really important that she's talking about these things, ladies and gentlemen, because I happen to believe, which we already know for a fact, David Schwartz has said it, we've heard people from the Fed say it, we need a protocol that's a public good. David Schwartz has said the XRP ledger is a public good. I believe that you could see a protocol be adopted as suggested by former CFTC chairman Chris Giancarlo, like the XRP ledger, and brought on and held to that constitutional standard, giving all of us the privacies as citizens in the United States. We'll see how that develops, but this is what else we got to look at from the Digital Pound Foundation, for which Susan Friedman from Ripple, head of policy, is a part of. Talk about stablecoins. Shout out to Adam for this one. A stablecoin based on a basket of currencies and not just one. Scope of stablecoins, says the Digital Pound Foundation, for the purposes of the proposed regulation, it is proposed that a definition along these lines would capture all stablecoins that reference fiat currencies, including a single currency stablecoin or stablecoin based on a basket of currencies. I remind you that James Wallace told us, and you know what? Let me get that for you real quick so you can hear it yourself. Okay, so this is James Wallace, and he's going to talk about how CBDCs are in fact the native token to the XRP ledger. And I encourage you to remember what Ashish Birla said when he said the other day, we covered it, that Ashish Birla has mentioned, imagine every correspondent bank who doesn't get the ability to make a CBDC issuing a stable coin for their bank on a blockchain. Now imagine CBDCs and correspondent stable coins and other things all living on the ledger. Those are the native tokens to the ledger. XRP just happens to be a bridge where you use it where it is needed and applicable. Take a quick listen here.
Right, we're using the same technology that it's with the XRP ledger. The token would be the CBDC, right? So the central bank would actually create their own token, a digital euro, digital dollar, whatever the market is, and that becomes the digital asset.
So that becomes the digital asset. Keep listening.
The native coin.
The native coin, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where XRP could come into play potentially is when you're looking at cross-border CBDC. So when you have a digital dollar and you have a digital real, or digital pound, you obviously need to have some way to interact cross-border. Yeah. So I think the BIS call this a multi-CBDC model. One of the ideas is you use a sort of a neutral bridge currency to go from one to the other, similar to the model I explained earlier, with our on-demand liquidity. But the core offering really is not XRP. There's no XRP involved. It's the native token is the CBDC.
There you have it. So whether we're talking about CBDCs or we're talking about stable coins, stablecoin based on a basket of currency, I offer you this. What if XRP becomes a stablecoin based on the basket of native CBDCs that are on the ledger? That's what I'm talking about here today, ladies and gentlemen. This is a former U.S. senior Treasury official. Shout out to Darren Moore for this clip. Give him a follow. Listen to what he says about a basket of currencies and the future of money.
The future of money, from my perspective, is going to be a basket of currencies, where you're going to see the three buckets of digital assets, decentralized finance, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Avalanche, and other blockchains, living alongside the Paxos Circle stablecoins, and then central bank digital currencies.
And those central bank digital currencies are native to the XRP ledger. Let's keep moving and go follow Darren Moore. This is Sim Lim from DBS Bank, who is highly favoring XRP right here and Ripple. This is just some evidence of it before you hear his clip talking about what a new world reserve currency would look like in the crypto world, in the digital world. DBS Bank announced Ripple as the cheapest method for international payments, one of the major banks in the Southeast Asia region. DBS Bank has a great relationship. They were a swell speaker with Piyush Gupta at Swell 2019. I believe they had some other swells as well. A multinational banking financial services corporation headquartered in Singapore has officially dubbed Ripple the cheapest way for making international payments. In the recently issued official document, the bank compares several payment systems, including SWIFT transfer, which they have mentioned as the most expensive for international transactions, and selects Ripple as the cheapest one. And then there's this reminder very quickly from John Deaton at DBS, Singapore's largest bank last year, and the sixth largest bank in the world, by the way, declares XRP is better and faster than SWIFT. This use case alone makes XRP a non-security. You're damn right, John Deaton. Now let's listen to what Sim Lim says here about the U.S. dollar. Will it remain as the reserve currency? And what would it be if it wasn't that? Take a listen.
Right?
Okay.
What do you see in 10 years?
Okay, that's also a very tough question. I don't have the answer to that, but I'll tell you how I will approach it. One, money as we know it today, and the US as a reserve currency, I think will be stressed. Governments that are not aligned with US policy would start wondering, should I keep US dollars, should I keep US treasuries? And if I don't agree with US then weaponize it against me. So I think that question is in most government mind. Okay, if I'm running any government, that will come to mind. A currency being backed by commodities, a basket of commodities, I think would be best. But I don't know if we'll go that way. And I mean, China has been pushing for that. Now, we have cryptocurrency today, we have stable coin today, we have central bank digital currency today. So there's a lot of question, is there going to be a change? Will the future of money look different? Now, I don't know the answer, but I do know that status quo as we know it, I think won't stay, given all that has happened.
It won't stay
It won't stay. Yeah, I don't believe it'll stay the same. How does it move forward? I don't know. Now, the third...
Well, I was wondering, and maybe I'm just being too simplistic, but it could almost be like the ECU, which preceded the euro, right? It was a trade-weighted basket of currencies.
Yes.
Couldn't you evolve to a cryptocurrency that we could agree on with 10 of the leading currencies of the world, and that's our instrument?
I haven't thought about that. I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't know. If it's tied against a basket of currencies, I'm not so sure. If it's tied against a basket of commodities, maybe. Because I don't think anyone wants to be beholden to any other countries or block of countries.
I like what he's saying here, but I want to add to this. What about the idea that a digital bridge currency like XRP not just have native CBDCs and stable coins on its protocol, but be backed also by commodities? Isn't it the best idea to have as many different things back the asset itself? This way it's harder to collapse it. I had a conversation back in 2019 with David Schwartz about this after he announced that you could create stable coins on the XRP ledger. And we had a great conversation about the idea and understanding that what most of the downfall with stable coins actually is that they're backed by one thing. If you could back a stable coin or something, let's say XRP even, now we didn't go that far, but it's talking about stable coins, or just even XRP itself, the more you put on the ledger, different CBDCs from money all around the world, gold, oil, silver, and other commodities, to be able to back and provide the collateral for something like XRP, isn't it more stable? Isn't it harder for it to collapse and have a complete doomsday thing unless the world itself did? This is where we are on this day, ladies and gentlemen. There is a change that's going to come. Will the dollar lose its reserve currency, or will it actually just have something sit beside it? And I think for a number of years, that may be exactly where we end up here. Before I get out of here, I want to tell you, I know that there's a lot going on in this space when it comes to not sure where to put your crypto. I got the majority of mine right here on Ledger. And guess what else? They got a coupon code that I'm going to put underneath of this video for you. 10% off. Don't mess around. Click that link. Not your keys, not your crypto. That's how they say it. I'll catch all of you on the next one. Not financial advice from me or anyone else.